Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Matt Wilson pregame show. I'm Mike Daggs alongside Gerald Smith. Gerald, week 2 of the SFL season 22 about to get underway tonight. We had the honor and privilege of doing a pregame show last week. Got a lot of nice feedback from a lot of different people. Appreciate all the feedback that we did get. And apparently people actually liked the show enough that convinced Cam to let us keep going with it. So here we are for week 2.
I think it was my bald look. I even got compared to the Kingpin.
The Kingpin, yeah.
Yeah, the Kingpin from the Marvel comics. Yeah. But hey, look, I'll take it.
Does that mean I'm like your faithful sidekick, or
the Kingpin doesn't have sidekick?
Well, I don't know what I am.
He's just like a ruthless guy in Hell's Kitchen.
I'm the Kingpin spokesman.
There you go. That works.
Well, anyway, let's get week 2 started. We've got a bunch of nice games on the slate this weekend. First of all, what do you think about week 1?
I know the game we called was excellent. It was really, really good. It was fantastic. I know we had a couple of upsets too.
There was
a couple of upsets this week, so it was a really, really good first week of football. But we all know how week 1s go,
yes.
And it's almost kind of a crapshoot sometimes. Some people think there's no film on anybody, but that also makes for really, really good football. And now guys are starting to get filmed. Now it's going to get a lot more competitive going forward.
A lot more interesting. Well, week 2 is just around the corner. Let's take a look at the week 2 schedule. And we'll break down some games, make some picks, and go from there. So starting off the schedule this week, Friday night, in just about 26 minutes time or so, we're going to kick things off with Minnesota at Fort Worth. Be myself and you on the call. Denver at DC will be at 8:15 p.m. Later on tonight. Michael Truillo back in the booth. So anybody who's missed Michael Truillo on the air, I know I have.
You're going to want to professional.
Yeah.
Legit
professional broadcaster on the air tonight. Michael Truillo and Petey Zeller on the call. That's going to be our Friday games this week. For Saturday, we kick things off with Atlanta at Carolina. Colin and Rick Northrup on the call. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. At 6:45, Jacksonville at Charleston. Eric Vincent back in the booth as well.
Hiccups, as we call them.
Hiccups.
Who can forget
Lovingly
the convention down in Houston?
Lovingly, we call him Hiccups. I'm not sure he's a big fan. Eric Vincent, Brandon Walters on the call. That is our 6:30 time slot. At 9:00 p.m. Eastern time, LA, Arizona, one of the games we're going to break down in just a little bit. Jacob Clear, Cameron Duty on the call. Queen City at Houston at 9:15 p.m. The dynamic duo of Tyler and Brett will be on that one. That rounds out Saturday. For Sunday, kicking things off, DeMond and Eddie back in the booth together. Chad ditched them.
Yeah, like
DeMond back in the booth with
him. There was some sort of divorce between Chad Rowland and Eddie Gage, but you know what? There's something really, really fun about DeMond and Eddie. It's almost like best friends, just chatting it up while watching football.
Just having a good time. Vancouver at San Diego will be that game at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. At 6:45, Canton at Indy, another interesting matchup. We're going to break down that one in a little bit. Ethan Muslin, John Warren on the call. At 9 p.m., Portland at your Louisiana Revolution. Josh Zirkle, Alden Bleeker on the call. How are you feeling about that game?
I'm feeling really, really good. I mean, historically, I don't think we've ever lost to Portland.
Well,
so
you had to say it out loud.
Yeah, I did, and I probably jinxed myself. Broadcast pregame jinx. So if we lose, sorry, Louisiana. If we somehow lose, we're feeling pretty good going into this week.
9:15 p.m. Motor City at Alamo City. Andy Hamilton, Rochelle Colson on the call. That rounds out the weekend slate. The Monday night spectacular, Cameron Irvine, Charles Doherty, Seattle, Baltimore. That's our weekend schedule looking ahead. So a lot of exciting games to look forward to. I'm looking forward to both games tonight. But first, why don't we get into some of the games going on over the weekend? We'll start off on Saturday. We've got Los Angeles at Arizona. An interesting matchup. Both teams starting off 0-1 this season. LA losing in, unfortunate fashion, if you want to call it that, some clock management issues at the end of the game. They lost that one 24-23. Arizona, that one to me was almost even a bigger surprise. Uncharacteristically shut out 28-0 against Canton. It's the first time that Arizona, as Arizona, has been shut out. The only other time in franchise history, Oklahoma City back in season 9, playing against the then Alaska Storm, was shut out, but never as this franchise, as this ownership group, have they been shut out. Not how they want to start. Break that game down for us.
Well, we're going to start off with LA, right? LA had last week, they played a great game plan against their opponent, but apparently head coach Sully Richardson likes to collect timeouts and just decided to keep them in his pocket. I'm gonna have to. Somebody needs to call him and say, "Hey, let me see this timeout collection because you can't take them home with you."
You can't do it.
Yeah. So, and that's where the game kind of just tipped kind of on its, it's kind of its head a little bit, and it kind of ended up in a heartbreaking loss for them. But I mean, they did look great. He found 5 different pass catchers last week, which got him in a situation that they were in to potentially win the game. And now they have Logan Jack, who he needs to be a lot more effective in the run game. They were not very good in the run game at all, and the defense played pretty solid as well. They had this bend don't break type of defense, and it was actually something that kept them in the game, and they were kind of able to inch in, make the stops they needed to potentially get into field goal range, which they were, but bad clock management caused them to kind of fall apart. And on the defensive side as well, Tazzy Blackwell led the team last week with 12 tackles, which was really, really good for them. So if they want to be able to propel themselves to a win this week, they're going to have to, not continue the trend from week 1 and collect timeouts. That's not what you have timeouts.
That's not how you play the football.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's Arizona.
Well, Arizona, we actually had quite a surprise in them. Like you said, the first time ever as Arizona, second time in the total franchise history that they've ever been shut out. It's not how Eddie Gage drew it up at all, right? Especially the last few seasons that they had, going to back-to-back championships and everything else, and then going to the playoffs again. For sure. This is not the way he wanted to start out the season. The Arizona offense was not good, to say the least. They only had 163 total yards of offense.
Not even a field goal to speak of.
No, nothing. Yeah. And when they did get into the red zone, they actually threw a pick.
Right.
So good defense by their opponents, but it's not how you want to progress through a game. You got to come away with some points and everything else. And it's kind of it's crazy because DJ Moses is a 2,000-yard rusher from last season.
Right.
He only had 6 carries for 19 yards.
Some playbook adjustments in the works here.
Right. A guy like that, you need to feed him the ball. And understand, at some point they ended up getting, behind, but you still have to stay with what's true. It runs and sets up the pass. Look, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the pass was not very good. Ashley Jackson was only 8 of 25 last week, which is not good at all. And the defense's only bright spot was that they did pressure the quarterback, and able to get an interception. They sacked the quarterback 4 times and able to get a pick, but it wasn't anything that their offense really helped them out with, right? So, and then the only downside of the defense, they gave up over 250 yards on the ground to Canton, and they just basically kind of ran all over them, did it at will, and everything else. So they need to get them moving. And is it because the run game wasn't successful for Arizona on offense because they lost Justin Williams? I don't know.
Right.
But for them, they're going to have to, start getting the run game going to get themselves in a better position to win games and score points.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what they can do on Saturday. Sunday, looking ahead, Canton at Indianapolis. Both teams on the flip side 1-0 to start the season. Canton, as we were just talking about, blanked Arizona 28-0. Very impressive victory for them. Indianapolis beat Atlanta 24-14. Let's dive into that game.
Yeah, and I don't know if we could have asked for a better performance from Canton overall. They were good all around. Very good defense. They scored 28 points and everything else. And like I just said, they actually ran for over 250 yards on the ground against an Eddie Gage defense. So that's something really, really good. And you know what they actually have? They actually have a lot of linemen there. And they actually drafted a lineman in the first round to help out the run game. And you know who was a huge part of that? Offensive Player of the Year, Logan Lee, adding to a run game that they actually added Logan Lee and Bill Cherry to the backfield. Bill Cherry is their fullback. Logan Lee coupled with, Robert Johnson in the back and being able to run the ball effectively as they have. So, and that's how they got successful. The defense, only allowed 163 yards against Arizona last week. And one of their key components in stopping the run game was a guy from Louisiana. I'm going to give my team a little shout out, but a product from Louisiana, Neil Rivers, right? He actually had a half a sack that game and everything else, but they were able to pressure the quarterback and not really allow, them to get anything going. And if they want to be successful, especially in the passing game, because who they're playing in Indy kind of threw the ball all over their opponents last. So I say all over, but we have a receiver there that went for over 200 yards in Indy. So, and we'll just switch right to Indy while we're at it, right? So, look, and they actually did really, really well. That's another game that a lot of people didn't think Indy was going to win. I picked them to win.
You
by
did.
the way.
I picked it.
It was good, and they were kind of the underdog going in. But they played well. It was almost an air show, but it was only to a Ryan Roosevelt air show. Ryan Roosevelt had over 200 yards receiving on 9 catches, which is really, really good. They didn't do too well in the run game, but they didn't need it, right? They were able to just throw it all over the place, but they're going to have to be more balanced going up against their opponent this week to be able to get themselves in a situation to win the ball game. And their defense was solid as well. They had 10 tackles for loss. So they were playing really, really tough at the line of scrimmage and being able to get penetration to get those tackles for losses, and was able to still even put enough pressure on the quarterback to end up with 3 interceptions on the day to get them that 24-14 win.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just an exciting matchup. Indianapolis, you see on the screen, never has started a season with 2 straight wins. They've got an opportunity to do so, but they're going up against a very tough opponent in Canton. Looking forward to that one on Sunday. Let's get into tonight. We've got a couple of great matchups tonight. You know, we'll break down Minnesota and Fort Worth right here at the end of the show. First up, Denver and DC. Both of these teams also starting 1-0. Denver with an interesting roster. It's a little bit smaller of a roster than some other teams, but it's an experienced roster. The average experience of the players on their team, 5 seasons. So they've got a lot of veterans on this team, and a handful of free agents that they brought over. There's 5 free agents that they brought over to help their squad. DC doing something very similar in free agency. They've got 6 free agents. So both of these teams putting up impressive wins in week 1, a 16-point victory for Denver over Jacksonville, an 18-point victory for DC over your Revs. And
thanks. I needed that.
I just wanted to remind you, listen, I'm already looking ahead to week 5. I'm going to have to apologize for that loss as well. So what can I say? But in any case, a couple of big victories for both of these teams in week 1. Someone's losing tonight, though. So break it down. And
DC is coming in as I would consider a pretty heavy favorite. They are a 7.5-point favorite against DC going this week. But you know, something is really unique, and I don't know if anybody noticed, right? They do something in DC that is extremely unique, in that they use the pass to set up the run. Usually it's the opposite for most people. The run sets up the pass. The pass sets up the run in this situation, and it all flows through Lauren Percoco, their tight end. I don't know if they were their leading. She was their leading receiver last season.
I respect it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew you'd love it.
Throw it to the tight end.
It's something that is extremely unique to the league overall because it runs through her. And I think what opens up the run game for them, which you did against us, our linebackers were sitting there running. We have to figure out where Lauren Percoco is. So when she lines up, whether it's in the slot or on the line or something like that, or split out way wide, our linebackers have to respect that. And when that happens, they start looking at Lauren Percoco. They run the ball right up the middle, right behind the linebacker's back, and they've been having huge success. That's what they did against us. And what they did against us, too, probably one of the best run defense that I've seen. They run blitzed us all night long.
Yeah.
And they blitzed on the pass as well, and they stopped our run game with the 2 high-power running backs that we've had, and it was really impressive.
11 tackles for a loss for their defense. Not sure if you even knew that stat.
No, I didn't want to know that stat, but thank you.
Well, but our producer has put that information out there for the viewers. I thought I might as well point that out.
And it was something that they just it's very unique what they do. And if somebody cannot get a handle on Lauren Percoco and how that their pass through Lauren Percoco is going to set it up, is going to be something. And not only that, they have probably one of the best pure linemen in Michael Percoco, who is the husband of Lauren Percoco. I think he's the lesser Percoco in this scenario.
Production-wise,
on this team. But look, I mean, he actually did his job and opened up the big holes for the guys to kind of run in those timely manners. So DC is going to be really, really formidable going forward, seeing how such a unique thing when their whole offense run through Lauren Percoco.
And for Denver has, this is something unique. They start at 1-0. They have had
5 straight losing
They
seasons.
have.
And the last winning season was their championship season.
A crazy fall
that
from,
they had.
from
Yeah,
grace.
it's crazy because I mean, but look, they look good, and they're one of the teams that look. They run in a situation where they got kind of players coming in and out, but it seemed like they're stabilized a little bit, especially the way they played in week 1, right? And one of their bright spots, we're going to start with the defense. It's been Jeff Melanician coming over from Louisiana again.
Yes.
See, we're losing all these players and they on teams that are just winning games. It's crazy. So, he came in, right? And he's going to lead the team from week 1. He had one of the 3 interceptions they had on the defense that is extremely young. So he's going to be the veteran presence right there on that young squad to kind of keep him going forward and doing stuff, right? And they actually won against Jacksonville with kind of like that vintage type of, Denver type of, play style where their run opposite of DC, where their run kind of sets up their pass and then leads them going in the right direction, right? And one of their big guys that they have going on in the middle, and I know Matt used to call him, R.E. Mills, he just called him General Mills. So, and I used to remember doing stats. Oh man, that's a general running the ball. So look, and they have Bailey O'Shaughnessy and stuff. Those two, running the ball together were keys to them winning in week 1.
Yeah.
So, and I think they can carry that over and keep going. And their front 7, with Hugo Reynoso, Brenda Puff, and everybody else on that line, they will have to disrupt up front and lead up front to try and stop that run game and keep an eye on Prococo. Their linebackers in Denver are going to have a tough time managing and even figuring out where Lauren Prococo is going to be, or else they're going to be in the same position we were coming out with the loss.
Michael Torello and P.D. Zeller will break that one down live on the air about a half hour's time as that one gets started. So we just broke down 3 games: LA, Arizona, Canton, Indy, DC, Denver. We made some picks last week, just to refresh everybody. We picked against the Atlanta Indy game and the Portland Vancouver game. You picked Indy, I picked Vancouver. We're 1-1 so far on the season on picks. We're going to track them all season long and even make it a little bit more fun as we go. But for this week, let's make picks on these 3 games and give a brief little reason why. So we'll start off with you, LA, Arizona.
I'm going to take LA on this one. I just think that they're right on the cusp, and they've learned from what they're doing. As long as Sully doesn't say, hey, I want to add to my timeout collection and use them when they're supposed to be used, I think they come out ahead because they looked really, really polished, coming in from last week, and they had a chance to win that game. They just couldn't get away. I just think Arizona's reeling, and I just, you got to kick them when you're down.
I picked Arizona, and the whole note that I wrote down, Eddie rebounds. Eddie Gage is going to look back at what went right, what went wrong, mostly what went wrong. And he's going to look at what LA was doing right, almost won. And if those timeouts stay in the pocket, I think Arizona's got a good chance to win. Eddie's going to bounce back in this one. The Arizona Scorpions bounce back in this one. Arizona gets the win. Canton, Indianapolis.
I'm going to Indy. Indy looked really, really good and polished, and they've actually, I think the passing attack from Indy is going to be too much for the Canton defense.
All right, well, I'm going with Canton. And the reason being, 28-0 over Arizona. It takes a special team to not only beat a team like Arizona. Not many teams beat Arizona last season. Not only did Canton beat them this season, they blanked them. 28-0. I think Canton gets the win. DC, Denver, real quick.
I gotta go DC. DC looks way too strong for Denver to do anything. And like I said, for all the points that I actually highlighted in DC with Lauren Prococo and the way that their offense is constructed, it runs through her, the passes up the run, I don't think Denver has an answer for that.
On one, we agree. Season 16, the Denver Nightwings served DC Dragons with their largest loss in DC history, 30-0. I don't think DC's forgotten about that one. I think that probably sticks in their minds. I think that goes into the game plan. DC comes out swinging, they come away with the win.
And the last person you want to make mad, I'm sure we've all seen Mr. Jermaine Smith.
I don't want to make him mad.
That is a man I do
Very
not want to
first
upset.
Convention, Matt was like throwing shots at him, and I'm like, Matt, he will eat you.
That's a fact.
All right, we've got about 4 minutes left in our show. It's about 8 minutes until kickoff. We've got a game coming up tonight, Minnesota at Fort Worth. Break this one down for us.
Well, Minnesota did not play last week, right?
But
they come in, right, and so and they're coming off of, and they are a 4.5 point underdog they somehow ended up 4-8 and actually won the division.
Yeah.
Went 1-out in the playoffs, but they ended up, and the only disheartening thing is that they lost 7 straight before winning the very last week. They started 3-1, lost 7 straight, won the last week of the season. A couple of teams had to lose for them to get in, but they still got it and did it. But they started addressing everything that they needed to. They ended up, key additions that they stole from Arizona is Justin Williams. They got T. DeQueen. Right, Justin Williams, was somebody in Arizona that was a very, very big part of that offensive run game. Is that why Arizona struggled then? I don't know. But here it is. Minnesota has them. And they added T. DeQueen. Why? Because they lost Vin Cali in free agency. And what they did, they also lost, Daniel Wright, an all-star. Who they replaced with? Another all-star from Florida, Adrian Blaine. She comes in and actually does it, right? And actually does the stuff.
Went to an all-star game last season.
So, and they just going to need consistencies from both sides of the ball, right? To be able to start out, don't start off slow and just get lost in everything else. Start out hot, just pull on through it. They just started out hot and they just petered out everything else. They just need to be, kind of, and in the last meeting with Fort Worth, they've actually lost very, very big last season. 34-6. So I'm sure Axel Raven and his whole crew is going to be ready to be able to, kind of fight back, seeing a huge loss, especially the disappointing season they had despite a division win.
Absolutely. And we got Fort Worth. They lost last week. They had won almost every game last season. The only game that they lost was to Baltimore in the semifinals. Otherwise, they won all the way through. They start off against Alamo City. They lose that game, so they're looking to rebound here in week 2.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about their loss last week is that they started out extremely slow. They had themselves in it and everything else, and it was able to even take the lead on it, right? Marcus Dunhill threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
And you know what? And
it's a killer.
Yeah, and then you know what else he had? Surprisingly, Marcus Dunhill was their leading rusher on the week last week with 24 yards.
Yeah.
So, and it was just one of those things where, look, they only had, and they didn't run the ball very much. And that's one of their strengths, right? I think they could get going and everything else, they can get the run game going. They only had 16 rush attempts last week versus 47 pass attempts. They were never really out of the game, so it kind of lends to believe, hey, did they just want to throw it and it just didn't work, and it couldn't do it. The defense did pretty good, though. The defense only allowed 2 touchdowns, 5 field goals, though. They allowed the opponent to get out. They do almost this bend, don't break type thing, but they just couldn't keep their opponent from going further down. So they are going to have to, get it going and everything else. And if they are going to pass, I mean, you do have a couple of studs on your team, and E.J. Minson coming over from Florida. And I think
pairing him with Hacker.
Yeah, Hacker is the guy I love the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
He rocks no gloves. It's an amazing thing to see. I love guys that just don't want to just grip it and rip it.
Yeah, who needs equipment?
Yeah, so look.
This ain't a fashion show, It's a football game.
Look, and this is another interesting point about their run game, right? Yeah. So their run game was, they only had 1.8 yards per carry from their running back.
And that's killer, too. You have that, couple it with the turnovers, you're done.
Yeah, and they just couldn't really get it going. And they still were in it, and they lost by a score, to Alamo City. But, I think they're still in there. They got some stuff they ran. I think they saw what worked and what didn't. And I think they're going to address that this week.
Well, we'll find out. Kickoff is in about 4.5 minutes. So we'll wrap things up here. That's the Matt Wilson pregame show for week 2. Appreciate you all joining us for the pregame show. We're going to be back, I guess, in week 3, unless we, get ruled off the air.
I don't know. I want to get some comparison again this week, so I might come dressed up. I might look like the Kingpin one of these days. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll do suits.
Great suit with the purple tie.
I got to go buy a certain kind of suit.
And
what am I, a
stuff.
New York State trooper? I got a purple tie and a great suit.
What?
Anyway, that's it from us here. About 4 minutes till kickoff now. We're going to send it off back to SFL Studios. We're going to get the game going here in just a little bit. Stay with us. In about 3.5 minutes, we'll get this one started. Have a good night. Week 2 SFL action kicks off this evening from the Stockyards as the Fort Worth Toros play host to the Minnesota Legend. Good evening, everybody. I am Mike Daggs, and with me in the booth, Gerald the Kingpin Smith. With us on stats tonight, Mark Lopez and Declan O'Rourke. You are watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music. Gerald, how are you doing this evening?
Week 2, and it's kind of cool seeing those banners hanging up in the Fort Worth Raptors for their division championship.
Heck yeah. Beautiful stadium here at the Stockyards. Exciting matchup tonight. We've got the season opener for the Minnesota Legend, a Week 1 bye. Fort Worth coming off a loss to division rival Alamo City. Exciting game tonight. Gerald, what do you think?
Well, Minnesota, obviously it's their first game of the season. They didn't want to start off just as hot as they did last season when they started 3-1. And they could start that with a win here. But, Fort Worth is wanting to get back to their winning ways as they went undefeated all regular season last season. But they started out 0-1 this week. But, hey, for them to say, hey, look, if they go undefeated all the way out, guess what? They're 11-1, and who knows where it can take them. So we're going to see what's going to happen.
Sounds good. Well, as Matt Wilson would say, there's only one way to find out, and that's on the field. So let's get down to the field, get this one started. Minnesota got the ball teed up, ready to kick off. Fort Worth will start with it on offense. We are underway here from the Stockyards. Kick taken back at the 3-yard line and returned up the gut, untouched until he gets to about the 26-yard line, tackled at the 28-yard line, and that is where quarterback Marcus Dunhill will lead his team onto the field. The halfbacks, J.Z. Bacon and Charlie Baker, the fullback, Aaron Alexander. The wide receivers, Cade Stevens, E.J. Minson, Stephen Hacker, and Lee Nakai. Tight ends are Robert Garrett Jr., the Cowboy, and James Jennings. On the first play from scrimmage, Dunhill will throw, and immediately fires over the middle to E.J. Minson, makes the connection, gets the first down on the first play of the game.
Yeah, E.J. Minson picking up right where he left off last week, right? It's actually his 9th catch of the season right here. He had 8 last week. And to add to his total, he had 155 catches through the air last week.
On the offensive line, Emilio Panda, Gordo Enorme, and Frank Burks. That is the tackle, left guard, and right guard. On first down, Dunhill back to throw again. Second pass in as many plays. That one is incomplete. Tried to hashtag throw it to the tight end, but Robert Garrett Jr. unable to haul it in. Second down.
And here we are, 2nd and 10. And, I'm wondering when we're going to see the first run, right? Getting, the ball to J.Z. Bacon, who had 1,900 yards on the ground last season. So let's see if they're going to kind of maybe change it up to what they did last week because they didn't give them the ball too often.
Important to get it into his hands, and they're going to pitch it down to him right now. Gains 4 on his first carry of the ball game. Sets him up with a 3rd down and a manageable 6.
Yeah, and I would like to see something like a run like that on first down, but
for sure.
Good play by Johnny Bravo, kind of coming right on the edge and being to bring him down on the first hit.
Dunhill on 3rd down. Rolls out to his left. Throws back across the middle of the field, and that one is complete. Stephen Hacker getting involved in the action. Gets the first down, moves the ball into Minnesota territory.
Yeah, Stephen Hacker says, you know what? I don't need gloves. I'm going to just tape up my fingers and just grip it when it comes to me. He reminds me of an old school player. I don't know. Do I have a man crush on that player or something?
I think you might.
Yeah, I do.
I'm a little jealous.
Old style.
It's the stylish mustache that he's got going on.
Yeah, I know. He's got quite the stash.
He does. He does indeed. Offset eye on first down from the 32. Minson in motion down to the bottom. You mentioned in the pregame show, the Matt Wilson pregame show, free agent acquisition from the Florida Storm. Bacon getting his 2nd carry of the ball game. This one good for a gain of 3 on the defensive line for Minnesota. Angela Meerkat, Mark Mello, and Max Knight. At linebacker, Stephen Black, Shin Yonetta, Matthew Alvarado, and Jason Clay. Alvarado coming over to Minnesota in free agency from the Mexico City Aztecs. We hated to see him go. He's going to make a huge impact on this Legends squad. And, well, how about that? Tackle for a loss, Matthew Alvarado. I called it.
There's no jinx there. Not one. Charlie Baker getting his first touch of the game here, and just went nowhere.
3rd down and 7. Converted a 3rd and 6 earlier on this drive. This time empty backfield, 5 wide. Dunhill, short drop, quick pass over the middle, overthrows his target. That one is incomplete. Attempted to connect with Minson. Brings up a 4th down, and we will see Amelia Rose coming onto the field for a field goal try.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Marcus saw there on that pass, because, Minson had so many Minnesota defenders around him.
First field goal of the season for Amelia Rose. Had 4 extra points last week. Field goal is on its way, hooking back to the right, but no. Wide left. The kick is missed. And Minnesota, they come away with one there.
Yeah, and that's uncharacteristic from Amelia Rose. Over the course, of her career, that's only her 5th miss in her career. Coming in, she was 96% field goal on making it. That's
on almost 100 tries. She's got over 90 kick attempts, has only missed 5 and misses the first one of the season. Johnny Reno on the field now for Minnesota. He is the quarterback. See Jason France, the tight end, going in motion up to the top. First down, they take over at their own 37-yard line. Quick pass out to the left. T. DeQueen, speaking of free agent acquisitions. T. DeQueen, the 4-season vet, 6'3" receiver, coming over from the Seattle Nemesis.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very, very huge pickup, right? It's the way they kind of overhauled their team. Look, they know they needed some changes, and they went out and they actually made those changes that they needed to make.
On 2nd down, hit in the backfield, and a 5-yard loss on the play. Colin Hart getting the carry, but stuffed immediately. Sets him up with a 3rd and long. The quarterback, Johnny Reno, Isaac Knox, and Colin Hart, they are the halfbacks. Justin Williams is the fullback. Quake Mam, Deezer Powell, and T. DeQueen, along with Jay Taylor, are the wide receivers. Robert Henson Jr. and Jason France are the tight ends. Brookie Burr, Alex Raven, Ruthie Raven, Dusty Wilson, Trey Hyman, those are your offensive linemen. Reno throws, trying to get the first down, and gets it. Gets the completion over the middle, this time to Quake Mam.
Yeah, what a way to pick up that 3rd and long. And it was in traffic too. I mean, Johnny Reno just didn't, he seen Mam coming across and just threw it right to the spot. And it was kind of in traffic right there. He was able to pull it down.
Delaney Nash got that tackle for a loss. He was the season 21 MVP, and plays like that are a large part of the reason why, unfortunately, the defense not able to capitalize off that TFL and move the chains. That run goes right back to the line of scrimmage and no more. Right into the waiting arms of J.L. Browning, 2nd and 10.
It's speaking of Delaney Nash, it's not all that often, right? You see a strong safety play the line like that, right? Play right at the line, be able to stop the run, play in coverage, and look, and we all know that's why he was MVP, right? A well-rounded player, and it's not often a defensive player wins MVP either.
A defensive player, let alone a safety. Usually, if it is going to be a defensive player, it'll be somebody like a D lineman, like an Alex Dominguez, who actually has not won an MVP award, but has won Defensive Player of the Year 4 times.
Maybe that equals an MVP.
What is it, like a carnival prize? You trade in 4 Defensive Players of the Year?
If you get 4...
I think you need 5. I think it's 5. He gets a 5th one. He gets to trade that in for a, one of those honorary MVPs.
Speaking of having 4 things, there's some people, some teams in other sports league that's got 4.
Stop it. 3rd down and 10. They're going to hand this one off on 3rd and 10. Colin Hart. He comes up just shy. He had a couple of runs stuffed, one for a 5-yard loss, another one right at the line, wasn't getting anything going. 3rd and 10, they trust him to get it done. He runs for 9 yards, almost makes it, just short.
Yeah, but that was a perfect play call, and that's what you got to do to kind of open it up right there, right? It's just to kind of get, and I love this right here. You get that most of the way.
Yeah.
Had such good, you got the momentum. You're on fringe range right here for even attempting a field goal or doing a punt. I like this call.
Crowd on their feet here at the Stockyards. They're going to hand this one off, and he gets it.
Up.
Justin Williams. You mentioned him earlier on, Gerald. Talk about it.
Yeah, and that's why you bring a guy, lure him from Arizona, which was a very big part. He rushed for over 600 yards last season, and I think that man could pick up the 1 yard just like he did to keep this drive going.
Sure did. Empty backfield now on first down. Reno hit as he throws, and the errant pass falls incomplete. Second down.
Yeah, and I didn't really get a chance to see who was in there, but they was in there really, really fast. Hit him as he was throwing and called them to make that errant throw. And that's what Fort Worth is going to have to do, right? Especially in the pass game, to try and get in there and get him off of some sort of a rhythm.
3 receivers, a tight end, and a running back. Matt Wilson's favorite formation in football. On second down, France back up to the top.
It's the Moose.
Forgot about that nickname. Short drop for Reno. Throws over the middle. And that one is incomplete. Was trying to hit the Moose. On the defensive line for Fort Worth, Jeff Duffy, Jerry D. Gond, Luther Gond, and John Nevels. At linebacker, E.K. Vincent, Sonny Sky, and J.L. Browning. The secondary, Tavius Gordon, Adam Leach, Remington James, Aiden Davis, Ben Stone, and MVP, Delaney Nash. Third down and 10 once again. Last time they handed it off to Colin Hart. This time Colin Hart is riding the pine. 4 up top, 1 to the bottom. Man coverage by the Fort Worth defense. The pass is complete and tackled 4 yards shy of the line to gain. T. DeQueen, T. DeQueen in on the catch, and a 47-yard field goal try coming up again. This time the other direction.
Yeah, here it is.
Double M7.
A double M7 coming in there to try and boot it in.
Kick is on the way from the right hash. This one looks right down the middle, and it is through. Minnesota scores first. 3-0 over the hometown Fort Worth Toros. If you are new to the Simulation Football League, I'm not sure where you've been all this time, but hey, welcome. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sideline and start your player today by joining our Discord server. You can find it at simulationfl.net. Click the Join the Community button and begin your career, or just meet the stars of the SFL like Gerald Smith on and off the field. It's never too late to get involved. Head over to the website today. Minson returns it out of the end zone and gets it up. Breaking tackles, bouncing around to the outside. Double M7 getting the tackle. Way to go, Mickey Malillo. Kickers are people too. Injury on the play. Let's see who went down. And I was hoping it wasn't double M.
That would have been something if he made a tackle and got hurt. I'm sure his coaching staff would not have been happy. Nah, man, we need your legs. We don't need you to go in there and do it.
Injured party is Bill Schroeder, wide receiver used primarily on special teams. We'll see if he comes back in later on in the ball game.
God, Double M7 was feeling so high from that field goal.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to make a tackle and ensuing kickoff. Good for him.
Attaboy, Mickey. Marcus Dunhill back out on the field, 2 of 4 on the opening drive, 37 yards. Saw a little bit of Jay-Z Bacon as well. Only a couple of carries, though. See if he gets a little bit more love on this drive. Starting off with a Dunhill throw. Going to go down the middle into double coverage. Doesn't matter. Gets the catch anyway. E.J. Minson getting it done.
Yeah, the former MVP of Marcus Dunhill. He trusts his guys. You know, he's like, hey, I'm going to put the ball on the spot. You get there and you grab it and bring it down. That was a very, very big pickup. And now they're, almost at midfield after one play.
First down and 10 from the center field logo.
The midfield or center field? Center field is a baseball position.
Is it?
Yeah. Midfield.
Yes, sir. Dunhill rolls out right. Pressure coming. And that one incomplete. Tried to hit Hacker. I think he had to throw that one a little faster than he wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think Hacker was complete with his route right there. And it was very good coverage. I want to give credit to the DB right there, who was forcing Hacker into possibly a route that he didn't want to run because he was playing such tight coverage.
2 receivers down to the bottom. Now an offset eye on second down from the midfield logo. Jay-Z Bacon. He gets the carry, gets it to midfield this time. Third down and 9. We saw a couple of third and mediums to third and longs on their opening drive. Ended up stalling out this one, definitely outside of field goal range. And we know that they'll probably want to get a little bit closer for Amelia Rose before they attempt another kick. Anyway,
and this is where Dunhill's going to have to trust his wide receivers in Minson and Hacker right here. I mean, he's got the studs to do it, to be an aired out attack, but it's concerning how they're struggling with the run right now.
4 targets up top, 1 to the bottom. Pass over the middle, and it's picked off going back the other way. Derek Meerkat gets the pick and gets it into Fort Worth territory. Dunhill's first mistake of the evening. You mentioned, Gerald, 4 interceptions last week. He had only 10 interceptions all of last season in the regular season. He's already got 5 early on in week 2.
And here it is. They're looking pretty good right here. What? The fumble? They fumbled and picked it up? Sure was.
Wow, we got so excited we looked away, and Fort Worth got the ball back.
Well, that's unfortunate. 15th interception by Meerkat on his career. Only to
all
fumble
for
it
nothing.
away.
Dunhill strikes to Hacker. Knocked the ball right out and scooped it up. Was Charlie Baker getting the ball back.
Man, what do they do, right? They just get Dunhill back. They throw it to Hacker and pick up first down, and now they're back in Minnesota territory right now. Let's see. Look, and I'm sure they're just thinking, yeah, let's not squander this. Let's be a lot safer with our passage right here. And you can tell, right? They did a corner route right to the edge, through right where only Hacker can pick it up.
Dunhill back under center now. First down and 10 from the Minnesota 38-yard line. Dunhill fires down the field. That one incomplete. Tried to hit Minson, but absolutely rocked by Adrian Blaine. She knocks it free.
Yep, and that's why they got her, the hard-hitting, free safety back there, knocking the ball out. And I bet you Hacker, they're going back to the huddle. Hacker's like, bro, you got to take them gloves off. It don't work.
Second down and 10. Three receivers on the field. Dunhill throwing down the right side. Oh, wow. Such tight blanket coverage, but still able to get the catch.
And it's Stephen Hacker, right? Just coming up really huge, 6'5", 235-pound wide receiver right there. And a lot of people don't realize it, but he's a former Rookie of the Year. Started out with no gloves, won the Rookie of the Year, and says,
I guess gloves aren't necessary in this league.
No, they're not. They're optional, and he just proved it. Say, hey, look, this is what happens when you throw to a guy with no gloves.
That's what I'm saying. Well, like I said, in the pregame show, it ain't a fashion show, it's football. Yeah, you ever taken a look at Jeffrey's player? Kid's got like one arm sleeve. He's got a red glove on one hand, a green glove on the other. Check out his cleats the next time. He needs to look pretty, I guess. Bacon gets the pitch, breaks a couple tackles, can't break them all, gets tackled for a loss. Johnny Bravo in on the tackle. They'll mark it back at the line. Probably a short loss on the play. Second down.
Yeah, and the run game is still being something tough. Almost through 5 quarters total for Fort Worth this season. They just have not been able to get the run game going.
Dunhill rolls out right. Throws back left, and it's into the end zone for a touchdown. E.J. Minson gets the score.
Yeah, and E.J. Minson coming through, finding himself open. And look, very, very good adjustment by him. It was slightly behind him by Dunhill. What's he do? He does what any wide receiver should do. Make your quarterback look good. Turn around, grab the ball, score. That way you can give your team the lead.
So on a drive where Marcus Dunhill throws a pick, it ends with a Marcus Dunhill touchdown pass to E.J. Minson. That's an odd set of circumstances, but the right tackle, Jimmy Herndon, actually punches the ball free from Derek Meerkat. Meerkat gets this great pick. Ball gets punched free by the right tackle, and the backup halfback, the number 2 halfback, I should say, Charlie Baker, happens to be on the field. It falls right into his waiting arms, keeps the drive going, and Marcus Dunhill ends up capitalizing along with free agent acquisition E.J. Minson. What a drive.
Yeah, it was, especially after the pick. And it's kind of crazy. Like, hey, the drive started. There was this, a little hiccup of a pick, but we got it back via a fumble, and then we just went on down to be able to score a touchdown, take the lead.
T. DeQueen returning this one, breaking a couple of tackles, gets it up to the 35-yard line. Nice starting field position for Minnesota. Now looking up at the scoreboard, trailing as Fort Worth was able to take the lead on that last drive. 7-3. So we take another look at the impressive return. Johnny Reno back out onto the field for his second drive of the game. 3 of 6. 28 yards on the first one. Colin Hart just couldn't quite get things going. Gerald, 3 rushing attempts, 4 yards. Had a 9-yard carry, but had to make up for the loss of 5. See what he can do on this one. Short drop by Reno. He's going to roll out a little bit. Throws over the middle. Finds a waiting target. Gets the first down. That one is complete. Jay Taylor with the catch. And they move the chains.
Yeah, and what a good way to start the drive right here, right? Like, neither team has had much going in the run game. I mean, the best run we've seen was a 3rd and 10 rush from Colin Hardy with somewhat of a draw play, kind of spread out the defense and kind of ran it up the middle there. So, and maybe that's something they might be able to think about, doing. Hey, look, let's spread the offense out and see if we can kind of run up the middle. And they're doing something similar here. You got 3 wideouts with a single back.
Reno looking to throw again, over the middle again, and connects again. T. DeQueen gets her 3rd catch of the ball game. That one a nice one. Back-to-back plays, Gerald, both resulting in first downs.
I'm not sure how that got through the hands of the linebacker.
Threaded that needle right there.
No, it wasn't. But it was Remington James. I don't know how it actually got through his hands and was able to get to wide receiver, but it did. Very good throw, very good catch. Good concentration by T. DeQueen right there to kind of just not let the traffic, between her and the ball affect her concentration on the ball.
Reno fires again and connects again. Jay Taylor just spreading that ball around.
It's 4 straight. Is that the 4th straight play, the 4th straight?
I think 3rd.
First down?
Third play, first down. I don't know. They're moving the chains. I know that much.
Yeah, it's like it's and it's chunk plays right here, and this isn't something you typically see give up by a Fort Worth defense. Like that, like getting such chunk yardage. They had one of the best defenses in the league last season, which is why they went undefeated in the regular season, and went to the semifinals.
Yeah. Reno to throw again. This time out route down to the bottom. Jason the Moose Franch gets the catch. Actually loses a yard on the play. And that will bring us to the end of quarter number 1. Fort Worth out in front, 7-3 over to the visiting Minnesota Legend. You are watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on YouTube. I'm Mike Daggs. He is Gerald Smith. Mark Lopez, Declan O'Rourke with us on stats. Cameron Irvine, our producer, back at SFL Studios as we get a team stats comparison from quarter number 1. Not a lot of rushing in this game, Gerald, and it continues in the passing game now. Johnny Reno over the middle, another completion. Getting it out to T. DeQueen, 1st and goal.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the 5th straight pass, 5th straight completion for Johnny Reno. They like what they're seeing in the passing game right here. I mean, because I wouldn't say they're abandoning a run, but they realize, hey, it's not really working, but we're doing good things in the pass. So they're actually doing really, really good here.
Reno fires, gets it into the end zone. Touchdown. The Legend reclaimed the lead. T. DeQueen.
And here we are. 7 straight pass plays, 7 straight catches. Eagles in a touchdown.
Yeah.
And and they're noticing something on the Fort Worth defense. It almost seems like Fort Worth is playing a lot of man, and they're able to do these crossing routes to be able to come across the defense, get separation from the defenders, and actually be able to move the ball. So I think if Fort Worth is going to try and battle that going forward, they might have to mix in some zones to keep from the crossing routes, get him caught in situations that they don't want to be in.
6-play, 66-yard drive capitalized by a T to Queen touchdown and a double M7. Mickey Melillo, extra point. Are you liking the game so far? Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. The SFL produces over 400 events a year. There is no other league in operation that gives you more football. Don't miss a minute of SFL or SFLM action and help that channel grow through your support. First down and 10 for the Toros. Going back and forth on the scoreboard. Minnesota struck first. Fort Worth took the lead on a touchdown on their last drive. Minnesota responds with a touchdown of their own. Dunhill, 6 of 11, 110 yards and a touchdown and a pick that apparently didn't matter. JZ Bacon, he just rumbles forward for 9, which was more yards than he had on his previous 4 carries combined.
Well, good news for the Fort Worth Toros, because here we are on this just last run. He has eclipsed the yards that he gained last week. He had 16 last week. JZ Bacon has 17 so far this week.
It's only going to be additional stats from here. Second down and 1. This time it goes into the hands of Charlie Baker. And Baker getting the first down will keep this drive alive.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how Charlie Baker is actually going to transition from wide receiver to running back, right? So they moved him from the wide receiver position down to the running back. Let's see what kind of ball carrier vision he's going to have as the season progresses, and how important, of him getting that vision is going to be important to Fort Worth.
He had 3 carries last week, has a couple already. Dunhill pirouetting in the backfield for some reason, but finds Hacker down the field for a big completion, a big gain. First down into Minnesota territory.
Yeah, it seems
Let's
like
see if we see the spin. Like, woo! Just winding up, ready to throw.
Yeah, why not? He just spun around, and maybe he told Hacker, hey, make you cut when I spin, and I'll throw it to you.
It's all about the timing. Like when you see me do the little twirl, that's when you know the ball's about to be yeeted to your direction.
It worked.
It did.
Do it again. So many times we see that.
We had the Lake Man shuffle. Now we're going to have the Dunhill twirl. He's probably not going to like that one. But I digress. Bacon gets the carry, breaks a couple of tackles, looking like Bacon of old. Gets 6, fighting his way forward. Second down and 4.
Yeah, and I think the passing game for Fort Worth is starting to gain some traction and be successful. So it's actually opened up the run for them, right? They're having to start to kind of sit back and actually wait and see what's happening before they do it. So and credit to the offensive line, right? They're actually holding some blocks and creating some space for the runners.
Ball goes back into the hands of Charlie Baker. He'll match his season total on carries now with 3, and he also breaks the yards that he had last week. Gerald, 16 yards for Bacon, only 5 yards for Baker. It was just not a very big rushing output. Currently, team-wise, they have 34 yards on the ground and counting.
And that's not including what Dunhill had gotten last week. He was leading rusher with 24 yards.
That's true. Bacon gets 7 more there. To finish out introducing the rosters, Minnesota's secondary is made up of Cody Griffin, Nicholas Frossel, Johnny Bravo, and we've already mentioned Adrian Blaine a couple of times. Jubilee Marsh is the other free safety, and Derek Meerkat, who got that pick earlier and then fumbled it away. He is the strong safety, rounding out the Minnesota defense. Ball goes back to Baker. Baker making some moves. Nice gain for Baker. First down and 10 inside the red zone.
Mentioned early in the drive about how he's going to look, transitioning from wide receiver to running back, and who he had leading the charge was Aaron Alexander coming in, probably one of the shortest human beings, outside of Pseudo Nakai to come in there. But he has made a huge block to propel Charlie Baker on a huge run.
He gets the leverage because he already starts down low. He doesn't even have to bend.
And he's 250.
Dunhill rolls out right.
Touchdown.
Stephen Hacker slides into the end zone for the touchdown.
And just like last drive, they answer, they come down, and here they are, right? Dunhill throws a little bit of short, And what do the receivers do, right? When you have high-quality guys like E.J. Minton and Stephen Hacker, they make the adjustments needed, make the catch, secure the catch, and then worry about something else afterwards. But that was the only place he could throw it, it looks like, because the defender was deep. Good throw, good catch, good adjustment by Stephen Hacker. Now they take the lead once again.
They do. They reclaim the lead, indeed. Amelia Rose on for the extra point. Stephen Hacker now with a touchdown reception, and E.J. Minson with a touchdown reception. Gives Fort Worth the lead, 14-10 over the Minnesota Legend. Johnny Reno and company are strapping the helmets on, getting ready to get back out onto the field. Get another drive going of their own. Minnesota on their opening drive, 11 plays, only had to go 33 yards. They got themselves a 47-yard field goal. That was their only drive of the first quarter that ended in the first quarter, I should say. Fort Worth completing 11 passes. All of them went to Stephen Hacker and E.J. Minson. See what Reno can do on this drive. Oh, downfield, and I think he's found a new favorite target. Gerald T. DeQueen from Seattle, now here in Minnesota, being targeted early and often in this one.
Yeah, and T had huge success in Seattle last season, right? And she's taking it, a little bit east to Minnesota and actually do it. And here they are. I mean, look, Minnesota, what is that Minnesota, at least in the passing game here? What is that, the 8th or 9th straight completed pass by Johnny Reno to one of his receivers? So, and it's not just, completions, it's completion with chunk yardage.
Absolutely. 10 of 13, 113 yards and a touchdown currently for Reno. Short drop and going back over the middle, and this time incomplete. Almost completed it to the Toros as it bounced in and out of a few different defenders' hands. Ultimately, E.K. Vincent dropping it at the end. Second down and 10 as it falls harmlessly to the turf.
Yeah, and that was our first Deezer Powell sighting right there, right? Three-time All-Star, hadn't made All-Star since season 13, but he is the most veteran player on this team with 13 seasons under the belt.
Reno back to pass yet again, this time getting the completion in coverage. E.K. Vincent in on the coverage, but the moose is loose. Jason France gets the catch, gets the first down.
Yeah, Jason France being 6'7", all of his 6'7" frame just had to put his hands up, throw it just high enough.
Yeah.
Him ready to grab it and pull it down, and here they are back in Fort Worth territory.
Basically caught it right off the back of Vincent's helmet. Like, oh, I'll take that. Way to use your head.
Well, when you got 7 inches on the guy, Vincent at 6 feet, the Moose at 6'7".
Colin Hart takes the pitch for a gain of 1. Still a low rushing total on the Minnesota side of the ball. 6 total yards on the ground. Been heavily dominated air attack so far for Minnesota. Reno. Oh, sacked. Ripped down to the turf. Jerry D. Gond gets into the backfield and gets the sack. Loss of 4, 3rd and 13.
Yeah, Jerry D. Gond coming right off the edge and being able to just get right by the defender to get another sack for his squad. Jerry D. had 7.5 sacks last season, and he made his first All-Star appearance last season as well.
Brookie Burr, the right tackle, he just absolutely spun right around her. Oh, pressure coming again, and Johnny Reno does all he can just to get rid of that pass. Luther Gond actually had the ball hit him, and that brings the drive to a close.
J.L. Browning shot right up the middle and was in Johnny Reno's lap before he knew it. Backpedaling, throwing the ball, had nowhere to go.
Minnie Malillo now. Double M8 on the punt. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
No.
Ball's going to bounce down at about the 10-yard line, roll into the end zone, and that will be a touchback for the Toros. They'll start at their own 20-yard line.
And here's where Fort Worth can actually, start to establish their dominance. If they actually go down like they did on their last couple of drives, minus the interception, turned fumble where they got it back. I mean, they could be looking at, something happened really good. And on the flip side, if Minnesota can stop them and somehow get the ball back without them scoring, be able to maybe put some points on it, then get the ball at half.
Short drop by Dunhill. He's going to throw it right out over to Hacker. Hacker continuing right where he left off. Now over 100 yards on the day on 6 receptions. Steven Hacker doing Hacker things.
And the blitz pickup by the offensive line was downright amazing. They had nobody. They sent linebackers, and there was such a void between where the line from the defensive front all the way to the safeties, because the corners crept up, and it was just easy pitch and catch for a former MVP like Dunhill to just hit one of his best wide receivers, Steven Hacker.
Offset eye in the backfield. Just looking at Aaron Alexander out there. I think that's Aaron. I see a little. Not too sure. He looks small. Whoever's in there at the fullback spot.
He's a very small
Jay-Z
person.
Bacon running the ball. He'll gain 6 on the play. I think that was actually backup fullback Rock Cartwright. And you mentioned how small Aaron Alexander is. Cartwright is actually an inch shorter than Alexander.
I don't know. Maybe I guess they're breeding them different down in Fort Worth. And
everything's bigger in Texas except for the fullback. Who knew? Charlie Baker can't get anything on that one. 3rd down and 4. He only gets back to the line. As we approach about 3 minutes left here in this first half of action.
Here's a very good opportunity for Minnesota to make a big stop here and try to get the ball back, right before half, to try and put points up on themselves. But it's also equal of a good opportunity for Fort Worth, right, to continue this drive going, to take control of the game.
Dunhill rolls out to the right, pressure coming, throws back to the left.
Oh, and he caught it.
He caught it. Flag on the play. It's going to be defensive pass interference, I believe, although that probably will not matter. I presume they'll decline it. They do indeed. That way, Minson can get the stats. An impressive catch in tight coverage. First down.
I mean, both these wide receivers for Fort Worth, right? Marcus Dunhill threw for over 400 yards last week, and it's for almost 300 yards of that was to Steven Hacker and E.J. Minson.
Going back up top, tried to hit Minson again on back-to-back plays. This time, Minson unable to haul that one in. Maybe have heard the footsteps. Tight coverage once again. I mean, this Minnesota secondary has just been all over these receiving targets, but so far have allowed 10 catches for 177 yards.
Yeah, I mean they've been having tight coverage. It's just the receivers are just that good. I mean, he went out and grabbed DJ Minson from Florida, and it's seemingly for this specific reason. Hey, we need 2 studs out there on the field at all times.
They got a stud, number 44. I need to see it go back to him a little bit here. Going back to Minson again. So far, all the passes have gone to E.J. Minson and Steven Hacker. Robert Garrett Jr., the tight end, has been targeted 1 time, and that is all so far. 3rd down and 10 now, and Gerald, they're all the way back at their own, at the Minnesota 37-yard line. It'd be a long field goal try. We saw Amelia Rose miss in the first quarter. They at least want to try to get a little bit closer, if not the first down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we seen a run here.
And in play action, Dunhill looking, firing for first down yardage, gets the catch. Up at the 18-yard line, E.J. Minson targeted 3 straight times, I believe. Gets it this time and moves the chains.
Look, I know they're only giving the ball in the passing game to 2 different guys, but it's like, hey, once you start concentrating on one stud, they just throw it to the other guy, and you're like, all right, which one do we cover this time? And plus,
open.
Right, and plus, whenever and Dunhill in that play action right there rolled out, got way out of traffic. He had all day. Nobody was even near him. He could have ran for the first down if he actually wanted, but he found E.J. Minson down the field.
Clock strikes the 2-minute warning here in Fort Worth. The Toros out in front and in scoring range again. So they're looking to extend their lead further.
And you got to think, too, these 2 wide receivers, right, coming into this week they had 14, E.J. Minson, 14 yards per reception. Steven Hacker, 16 yards per reception, and they got over 18 yards per reception each in this game.
Dunhill swings this one down to Bacon. Bacon breaks a tackle and gains 9. Gets inside the 10-yard line. 2nd down and 1, and smartly they'll let this clock roll.
Yeah, just let it go down. Just kind of take that, because you don't want to leave a whole lot of time for Minnesota to potentially get the ball and kind of, as I would call it, double dip, be able to go down, get points, and then receive the second half kickoff.
It's absolutely slipped right through the arms of Johnny Bravo. Setting him up nicely here. 2nd down and 1. Handing the ball right back off to Charlie Baker. And Baker leveled by Derek Meerkat. Gets the 1st down, though. 1st and goal.
Yeah, and they're actually doing really, really good in the run game. Both running backs right now are averaging over 4 yards a carry. Doing really good of the mix in the pass.
Dunhill's going to keep it himself and dives into the end zone. Marcus Dunhill with the flying Toro touchdown.
Marcus Dunhill says, you know what? The running backs are doing well. I can do well myself. Didn't you remember? I was a leading rusher last week. I want my touchdown in the rushing game. He runs in and just for flair, jumps over the line and gets his team, a 2-score lead now.
Extending their lead by 10. Extra point by Rose. 4th coming. Shout out to those of you in the chat joining us. Rain Man, Fort Worth Toros, T. DeQueen, the Axel Raven, Minson Mind, and so many more. Candy Kane, Doug Day. Look at there's Gunny too. Ethan Flowers, Pseudo Nakai. Pseudo Nakai asking, Toros can fly earlier on. Minson Mind says, why are we in the gun? And then promptly said, oh, that's why. Let's go. Yeah, Marcus Dunhill knows what he's doing. Everybody relax. Toros out in front by 11.
It's an MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. A flying MVP. Who knew? Last time I saw a cow fly was on that movie Twister from back in the day.
I would agree. That's the last time I saw one too. Or hey, look, and if you're a comic fan, I used to see him like the Superman things too. Yeah, on the Kansas farm, they get cows and corn and everything.
Just whipping up in the air.
Telling you.
Unbelievable. Minute 6, all 3 timeouts. Plenty of opportunity for Johnny Reno and company. And surprisingly, Gerald, he's actually going to get this drive started with a run. So they've passed it 16 times, and they had only run it 5 times up till then. Now we're in the 2-minute drill, and they rush there. 21 yards last week, 57 tonight for the Fort Worth Toros. We mentioned that earlier on, Gerald. Both running backs already eclipsed their rushing totals. And Dunhill, a large part of last week, too. So Reno this time goes to the sky, hits T. DeQueen. They'll call their first time out.
And that's why Doug Day is in the chat watching his lovely T. DeQueen play for somebody else, and he's probably saying, come back.
Baby, come back.
If T. DeQueen come from Seattle where her, she's the better half of that group.
I don't know. Doug's giving me Twinkies. I don't remember T giving me snacks.
T doesn't like Twinkies. That's why she left.
Reno fires into the middle of the field, and that one is incomplete. $1.99 super chat by the self-proclaimed Texas team hater himself, Jay Ballmer. And I've talked to this guy a few times now, talked to him in Cincinnati at the last SFL convention. My man hates Texas teams. Just hates them. Hates them all. Spends $2 just to say, beat this Texas team, Minnesota.
I don't like those Texas teams either.
Speaking of Texas teams, J.L. Browning, interception. Toros take over.
And this is the opportunity. It's an opportunity for the Toros to put even more points on the board before half. Just not a very good decision by Johnny Reno to throw it right there in traffic. It almost looked like he threw it right to Mr. J.L. Browning. It's like he didn't see him. And they already got the ball near the 40.
Johnny Reno throws his first interception of the season, and a costly one, as Fort Worth already with a 2-score advantage. And like you just mentioned, Gerald, now they're in scoring range already on that J.L. Browning pick. Dunhill will go to the sky and throws this one. That kind of just looked like a broken play.
Well, I think it got batted at the line and kind of threw his trajectory off, and there was a little bit of pressure kind of coming in his lap, but he was able to get it off, and I believe it got batted near the line.
29 seconds to go here in the first half.
And they just need about 10 yards. They need to almost pick up a first down to get themselves in Amelia Rose range. And I bet if she's given another opportunity, she's not going to miss it.
Yeah, she's only missed, 6 now on her entire career? 5. Well, I think, what was it, 5 before and now 6? I don't know. I ran out of fingers counting that one. Stephen Hacker gets that completion now definitely within her range. And Fort Worth will call their first timeout of the half. Dunhill efficient so far, completing about 65% of his passes. He's got 3 touchdowns as well as the stats you see on the screen. 1 interception. Passing yard comparison, it's been all Fort Worth, doubling Reno's total on the other side. Dunhill throws into triple coverage. And see, every once in a while, this is why he threw 4 picks last week. Every once in a while, he tries to force one. Did it there.
Yeah, and he's eyeing up right like E.J. Minton and Stephen Hacker almost exclusively right there. He tried to get it to E.J. Minton, when Stephen Hacker was probably the more open receiver right over the middle. But, this is the second week in a row, right, to start the season where Stephen Hacker has over 100 receiving yards in a game. It's only the first half.
Missed a field goal on their opening drive. They've had 3 straight touchdown drives since, looking to do it again. Dunhill fires, gets it to the 5. Fighting his way to the end zone. First and goal, the Cowboy, Robert Garrett Jr.
Robert Garrett Jr. says, I need some loving. I'm the tallest guy on the field, and you hadn't hit me yet. Guess what? The Cowboy brings it down and almost gets his team in the end zone. And look where most of these passing yards are done.
Straight down
right
the middle.
Over the middle. You need better safety play from Minnesota if you're going to stop those passes over the middle.
Aaron Alexander lined up at the fullback position. I formation for the Toros. Dunhill hands it off to Bacon. Bacon fights his way into the end zone, and the first rushing touchdown by a halfback for the Toros this season comes in the hands of J.Z. Bacon, and they're an extra point away from being up by 18 at the half.
Yeah, now they are up 18 points, and now that J.Z. Bacon scored, he's like, I'm going to give us a little bit of sizzle and show everybody that we're pulling away, and we are the Toros that you saw last season. Week 1, we played a tough opponent, but we still got it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking just like they did in season 21 so far in this game. Other than the interception to Dunhill, other than the interception that Dunhill threw, I should say, that was picked off by Derek Meerkat, it's otherwise been a pretty flawless game. 16 of 25, 3 touchdown passes. Dunhill also has a touchdown rush. J.Z. Bacon now with 9 carries, 37 yards, and a touchdown of his own. Charlie Baker getting it done. He's averaging over 4 yards per carry. And finally, a reception to somebody not named Minson or Hecker, as Robert Garrett Jr. got a nice 23-yard catch straight down the middle. A very efficient drive. And Gerald, points off turnovers. Johnny Reno threw a pick, and Fort Worth got the touchdown out of it.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that's actually 14 points off of turnovers because
you're right.
Fort Worth threw the interception and then caused the defense to fumble, and then they took down and scored that. So they have 14 points off of turnovers right here. If you take those 14 points away, it's a much, much closer game. So, but Fort Worth is looking like the Fort Worth that we saw last season that we know they can be.
So Reno in the gun. They'll have one shot at a play here. He's going to go deep down the right sideline. Gets the pass complete to Queen, and they will burn their second timeout. So maybe Hail Mary range coming up. They got a nice quick pass off to be able to take the snap, drop way back, throw it deep down the field, get the completion, get down, and call a timeout all within 5 seconds.
I know, and look at T going off. 8 receptions, 110 yards with a touchdown today in the first half. But like you said, it puts themselves in a situation now that we might heave it and get themselves closer to the end zone, if not in the end zone with this pass.
Reno drops way back again, fires shorter this time, sails it. That one is incomplete, and that'll bring us to the half. Looked like you saw something there. You wanted that one to go somewhere else.
Well, yeah, it looked like in the middle of the field they had open space and open wide receiver. Instead, he threw it toward the sideline for some reason.
Yeah, maybe some miscommunication on the receiver's part. I don't know. I'm sure Reno will have a conversation with his receivers at the half as we head to the SFL on YouTube 4K23 halftime break. See some snapshots of the half. Gerald, your thoughts on the game so far?
Yeah, it's not that Minnesota is playing a bad game because they're not. It's just that Fort Worth is playing a really, really exceptional game, especially in the passing game. Minnesota doesn't have any answers for Stephen Hacker and E.J. Minson. And then one of the most important things, are not, blowing anybody away in the run game, but when they are running it, it is being effective when they are running it, keeping them honest and everything else like that. So if Fort Worth continues this trend of doing what they're doing here, I mean, look at Dunhill at the half. He has over 250 yards. Some quarterbacks in this league don't even get that for the game.
Right.
And he had over 400 yards passing last week, and he's well on his way of doing that again this week. So if Minnesota cannot stop the passing game, they're going to struggle in this second half.
We'll see how things continue to roll out. A beautiful night here at the Stockyards, albeit chilly. Being from the Northeast, Gerald, I was hoping our trip down to Texas would be a nice toasty one. Not quite. It's at a nice brisk 32 degrees. I'm Mike Daggs. He's Gerald Smith. We're both freezing in the booth, staying warm. Down in the stats truck, though, is Mark Lopez and Declan O'Rourke, and always toasty at Cozy SFL Studios, our producer Cameron Irvine.
Yeah, and we gotta talk to the Fort Worth ownership, man. Can we get some space
like a
heaters
space
in
heater?
Here? Like
yeah,
something.
I don't think they have heaters in Texas. Like they just don't believe in such things.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess we
I'll build a campfire.
Well, I guess we SOL or something.
No,
man.
we'll just start burning things.
Well, Hacker, he can come off the sideline with his no gloves, bring us a space heater.
Yeah,
and help us out.
We'll just freeze. It's all good. Minnesota starts things off at their own 26-yard line. Reno, 13 of 21, 178 yards in the first quarter. And this time connects with Jay Taylor, his third catch of the ball game. His favorite target in the first half, of course, T. DeQueen. She had over 100 yards receiving. And that completion to Taylor adds on to Reno's total.
Yeah, and look, and it's almost like Fort Worth is found that, hey, look, we're not going to give anything past us, right? And they're going to give some of the stuff up underneath, because they've actually been playing pretty good defense. The last offensive drive by Minnesota, not counting the one right before the half where time ran out, they actually, Fort Worth actually changed the defense, was able to pick them off.
A rare running play. This time Isaac Knox getting the carry. We're going to send it back to Cameron Irvine at SFL Studios. He's got a game break for us, Denver, D.C. Cameron?
Thank you, Mike. D.C. and Denver in the second half, or in the second quarter, rather, and that's a touchdown to Mason Kirby from Shabazz Synergy. 17-3, the Dragons lead the Nightwings just before the half. Back to you in Fort Worth.
Thank you, Cam. And Gerald, I take it back. Apparently, it is a fashion show.
It's always a fashion show. Look, I tell you what, when you win, you have to look good doing it.
Heck yeah.
But when you lose and you look good, it doesn't mean anything.
Burn the uniforms and get new ones.
You almost look like, well, I want to burn our all whites. I'm just saying, we can't win in all white.
All right, noted. Week 5, the Aztecs will wear all whites. Jay Taylor getting another catch.
That means you won't win. You wear all whites. That's great. You can wear them. You can wear them.
I'll wear all blacks then. Maybe I'll make a new hybrid uniform.
It doesn't matter. You're still going to lose.
Maybe I'll make a uniform that's got a 2-legged horse on it with a circle and a line through it. Kind of horse only has 2 legs.
It's 4 legs. We just captured just 2 for the logo purposes.
Fort Worth all-around yardage is superior so far in this one to Minnesota. Legend trying to add on to that on this drive. An efficient drive so far as T. DeQueen gets her 1 millionth catch on the day. That one good for a gain of 5.
So I'm saying, like, it's Minnesota. And this is what I was talking about. Minnesota isn't doing anything wrong, right? They're doing a lot of stuff right. It's just Fort Worth is just playing out of their minds. They're playing like they did last season, right? Look, he got Johnny Reno one mistake with the interception. He's got over 200 yards passing. So and he's 16 for 24 on the game. They're not doing anything bad at all.
A carry by Justin Williams nets them 3, sets them up with a 3rd down and a manageable 2.
And they're going to have to, I don't think at this point the way the Fort Worth offense is just ripping through the Minnesota defense, they will not be able to settle for field goals in the second half. Minnesota, they're going to have to punch it in the end zone.
High formation now on 3rd
Wow.
down. Oh, wow. What a play by E.K. Vinson. 8 seasons on this team, 13 in the league. All-star player, and it's plays like that got him voted in.
Yeah, he just came right in there, and it was like he almost come out of nowhere. It's like he read it, just come right in there and just hit it. He knew what was coming, and he was unblocked.
Double M7 with the field goal try. Hooks this one back left, just inside the right upright. Extra point is good. Cuts it back down to a 2-score ball game. They at least get some points on that drive, Gerald, but now it's going to be up to the Minnesota defense to try to prevent Fort Worth from continuing to score. It's always a difficult thing when your team gets down by a couple of scores. Not only does your offense have to keep on scoring, but your defense has got to get some stops, get you the ball back, either force some turnovers, force some punts, something. And thus far, after that first drive, Minnesota defense has struggled to do just that.
Yeah, and they haven't really been able to stop Fort Worth at all. Like defensively, they've just been. Fort Worth has almost been doing what they want, especially in the passing game, right? And the route running ability by Minson and Hacker is just opening up such passing lanes for Marcus Dunhill for them to throw to.
Kevin Ostring in the chat saying, anyone playing this game? This is the Simulation Football League. It's the world's first controllerless esport, which makes it a little bit more accessible to more people from all makes and models around the world to be able to participate in this game, coach's game plan, and develop the playbooks and the action that you end up seeing on the field. All the players represented by real people. They're progressed and developed the way that each person wants to progress and develop said player. Makes everybody a very unique look and feel on the field. If you'd like to learn more, visit our website, simulationfl.net. You could join our Discord server. You could even create a player of your own. Dunhill throws that one over the middle. Cade Stevens getting involved. Gets the first down, makes a move, gets a little bit more.
Cade Stevens showing he got some moves too. He's making the most of it, hitting the spin moves and actually getting some of that yak yardage as he catches it. He hits it with a spin move right there and keeps on going. And look, and they just look. They just look like they just want. They're just able to do what they want.
Absolutely.
And going back to joining this league and being part of it, exclusive area. How else would a, growing older male like myself with no hair and getting around can't really play the game anymore with headphones on his shirt?
You do have headphones on your shirt. It's very broadcaster-esque. Look at that jumping one-handed catch. E.J. Minson extending out for it. I want to call that one the nice hands catch, brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it, SFL 4K23. Always love to see a jumping one-handed catch. Rochelle Colston with the $2 super chat. Smash that like button. Do so with your computer mouse. I accidentally smashed it with my fist one day. Apparently the instructions were not clear. That monitor is no longer with us. Jay-Z Bacon gets the first down, and this legend defense, Gerald, continues to struggle to stop the Toros.
Yeah, and it's mostly in the passing game, right? Here they are, they're passing it, and they're actually using it opposite, similar to another team, right? That's actually, playing opposite right here, using the pass to set up the run, and it's working.
Well, Stephen Black had something to say about the not able to stop the Toros comment, and absolutely laid out the running back on that one. Only a gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
Charlie Baker's like, hey, take it easy. It's my first season as a running back.
It's like, whoa.
Relax.
I don't usually get hit by linebackers. It's usually just small corners. Trying to get the TFL, can't quite bring him down. Angela Meerkat with the first contact. Stephen Black cleans it up, 3rd and 8.
Yeah, Meerkat set up that tackle to be kind of done well, but they actually got a yard out of it. But they're still forced a 3rd and long right here, and this is where your E.J. Minson and Stephen Hacker come out to play.
Black with 5 tackles so far on the day. Stephen Hacker, as you mentioned, right on cue, Gerald, gets the catch. Actually went back behind the line to gain, but easily got back in front of it. Another first down. They move the chains and on the cusp of scoring range.
In all of his career, watch right here. He breaks the tackle right here. All of Stephen Hacker's career, he has been one of the most difficult wide receivers to bring to the ground over the course of his 11-year career. That's why he's actually, was the offensive rookie of the year and a 5-time All-Star.
4 minutes left on the clock here in quarter number 3. Bacon gets a nice surge ahead for a gain of 6 and up 2 scores. Not only 2 scores, Gerald, but 2 touchdowns, an extra point, and a 2-point conversion just to get this one tied back up. And that's assuming that Fort Worth doesn't score on this drive, now at the Minnesota 21-yard line. And a field goal would, of course, make it a 3-score game once again. Charlie Baker gets the handoff, and they're going to spot him just enough yards to move the chains. And it's getting ever so closer to the end zone.
Yep, and look, and Fort Worth has got such control of this game right now. It's like they showed no panic, and actually thought that maybe they may have had some panic. And where the game turned on, it turned a little bit, was on that interception that Minnesota got off of Dunhill, only for Minnesota to fumble it right back to Fort Worth. After that, it's been all Fort Worth.
Dunhill fires, end zone, tipped and incomplete. Would have been just outside of the end zone, but Adrian Blaine, all-star player from this past season in Florida, gets the tip.
Yeah, what a phenomenal player, right? And she, her addition to the team, it's something that Minnesota is going to have to lean on, especially if they expect to win this game. Anything down the field, she's going to have to get her hands on and bring it down.
Dunhill.
Oh,
that one's picked off. Stephen Black. He had 5 tackles so far on the drive, Gerald, and this time is able to jump in front of the ball and get the interception. That's what the defense needed. He stepped up right after I had made a comment about how the Minnesota defense couldn't get the stop. Absolutely leveled Charlie Baker. Ended up cleaning up what Angela Meerkat had started on the next play, only allowed another yard, and this time gets the pick. A huge turn of events for Minnesota.
And that's veteran linebacker play right there, right? So what he did, he actually dropped back in coverage. He kind of eyed up and saw where Hacker and Minson were going, and he put himself right in the middle of it, got right in between that passing lane, and he's able to come down with the interception.
Now it's up to the Legend offense to see what they can do. Starting off with a Colin Hart run. That one goes only back to the line of scrimmage. And Colin Hart, so far, Gerald, has struggled in this one. He's got 8 rushing attempts, but does not even have 8 yards.
And it's kind of disappointing because he's actually got a 9-yard long of a rush.
Yeah, trying to still make up for that one. But here's a grown man. Jason France. That's why we call him the Moose.
Don't get in front of a moose.
You don't get in front of a moose.
There are really large animals, and look at this right here. He takes it in and just levels a guy. I would, check.
That's someone's child.
Yeah, it is. And poor Adam Leach, the 7-season vet, just got hit. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to get in. I bet you next time he's just going to drop to his
make
legs.
A business decision, yeah.
He's going to take out his feet next time. He's just, Jeez.
First down and 10 from the 26. Gets a pitch down to Colin Hart and still unable to find his footing. Kita Yuki with the $2 super chat. Broadcaster's curse. Guess the D heard you. It's possible.
It's very possible. Sometimes it works in the favor of others.
The broadcaster's curse works in mysterious ways, Gerald.
It sure does.
A wild moose wandering around the backfield at the moment. Getting set. Connects that one up to the slot receiver. Colin Hart so far, 9 carries, 8 rushing yards tonight, Gerald. And like you said, he had a long of 9, but so many tackles for a loss that it has not quite added up to much positive yardage. See if he can do anything here. Gets the first down at least. Only a couple of yards, but moves the chains.
That'll raise your average on the day. Maybe. Wait, he'll get a yard. He'll get a yards per carry.
Four wide receivers on the field on this first down. This time getting it into the hands of a different rushing target, Gerald. Mark Edwards, the backup fullback, getting a carry. Second down and 7.
Yeah, and they're moseying on down. Like, now that they got the ball, I mean, there's really no rush, right? So we're still in the third quarter.
Yeah, there's plenty of time.
Right,
You can run your standard offense.
Right, and they are, getting themselves in a situation there because they are a controllerless drive. They go down. If they score, they cut it down to a 1-score lead.
Final seconds of the third quarter ticking away. See if they get one more play off. They do indeed. Colin Hart stuffed. And that drive will come to a close. Gerald, they'll have a brief break at the end of the quarter here to decide if they want to go for this. I would recommend that they do. We will find out. 3 quarters in the books. 10 minutes remains here at the Stockyards. Fort Worth Thoroughs out in front, 28-13 over the Legend.
Of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
I'm Mike Daggs. He's Gerald Smith. Mark Lopez, Declan O'Rourke with us on stats this evening. Cameron Irvine, our producer at SFL Studio. 4's going up in the chat. And Gerald, they are not only not going to go for the field goal, they're going to punt.
I would have liked to see him try it right there, right at midfield. But I guess they're just going to trust their defense, try and pin Fort Worth back.
E.J. Minson breaking tackles on the punt return, getting out to the 23-yard line. And, I know Colin Hart hasn't had a great day quite yet. He's only averaging a yard per carry. But Justin Williams, he's averaging 3 yards per carry. I would have, I don't know. If I'm down 2 scores, I'm almost at midfield. I think I'm handing the ball off to Justin Williams on that 3rd and 1. That's why I brought him in free agency to get plays like that one. And they don't do it. They punt.
I mean, seemingly that's why you go out and you pay the man what you're paying him, right? To come over to the team, to have somebody pick up those short yardages. And he's because he was heavily involved in Arizona last season. So, you would think that it would just come right over and translate right over to Minnesota to be able to pick it up, but they decided to punt.
Derek Meerkat on the safety blitz got into the backfield so quick that he actually had to turn around and catch back up to the running back on that one. Got the tackle. Almost had a TFL, but only a gain of 1. 7 tackles and a pick so far tonight.
I see that interception, and I just see the fumble right
I know. It's an interception. There should be an asterisk next to it, unfortunately for him.
Max Knight.
Oh, look at that. Dunhill ripped to the ground by a whole lot of Max Knight. It's a big fella.
I seen him come off. He fought
How could
right
you
on.
not?
Yeah, he fought right on through, and he just got him, and Dunhill had nowhere to go with the ball.
6'5", 350 pounds. Max Knight, defensive tackle.
Oh, he's an excellent player. He's one of the journeyman type guys. He finally found where he fit in right here. He had really good seasons, out in Arizona and Motor City as well. But here he is in Minnesota for his, second season.
Dunhill to Minson once again. I think that's going to be a common tagline throughout this season, Gerald. Dunhill to Minson, first down Toro.
And it's a first down pickup on a 3rd and long. I mean, that's the worst demoralizing deal right there, right? It's like you put him back in 3rd and long, and then you can't get enough pressure. You can't hang on to them. They're running great routes, and they're open, and then you give it up.
Dunhill eclipsing the 300-yard mark on the day, 309 yards now on 20 completions. Hands this one off to Bacon, who's looking fresh and spry as he quickly rushes forward for a gain of 5, 2nd down.
Speaking of bacon, what is your favorite, flavor of bacon? Applewood, hickory?
Oh, bacon has more than one flavor?
What?
Isn't it just bacon flavored?
It's just not bacon. Yes, bacon flavored, but what's your favorite,
I like the bacon-flavored bacon myself. Charlie Baker, he gains 4, 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just get thick-cut bacon.
Next time you're going to go to the store, you're going to see that there's different types. It matters. Maple is really good. Maple bacon. It's good. If you haven't tried, try it. It's really good. Look at that. Even my man Stephen Hacker. That's why he rocks no good. Peppered bacon.
Peppered bacon. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, nice stop there by the Legend defense. Well, we're reminiscing about bacon. Jason Clay gets the stop that he needs. And I guess a survey's been started in the chat about bacon-flavored soda. All right, see, this is just madness.
No, it's not madness. The maple right there. Now, I would try bacon-flavored soda. If you like bacon, why not try it?
I like citrus-flavored soda. Hickory, applewood, maple.
That's what I'm saying.
What is happening?
You're going to go to the store. You have a new outlook on bacon. It matters.
Thick-cut, plain old bacon. T. the Queen takes the fair catch at the 25. So, the defense did what it had to do. But now the offense has to have a little Twinkie-flavored bacon. How about a bacon-flavored Twinkie? All right, knock it off. Offense has to get something going here. 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. T. the Queen, 9 catches tonight. It is a career high in the 4K23 era.
She ate that maple bacon this morning.
I guess so. Reno gets this one out to Jay Taylor. So, Gerald, when we were still in the 3rd quarter, about the final couple minutes, we mentioned how you can continue to run your standard offense. Still plenty of time left. Chad Rowland is insulting me in the chat. Whatever. So, Minnesota, what do they got to do here? Yeah, you and your bacon questions, causing all sorts of chaos.
Look, they still have time, but they have to go down and score. They have to have somewhat of a little bit of upward tempo. And look, that's why you brought Justin Williams onto your team.
That's what I'm saying, though. They could have done that on that 4th and 1 and gotten a 1st down and gotten some points.
Right, but they can't. Look, once you start approaching the 4-minute mark, they're going to have to come up, kind of get a little bit more of an up tempo if they don't go down there and get themselves a touchdown here. So, it's going to be, a pass play right here.
Jalapeno bacon. All right, I try that. I don't know about maple. Applewood sounds good. Colin Hart able to gain 5 on that one. Sultan LSCG with a $5 super chat says, forget bacon. I don't even want to read the rest. Forget bacon. Forget your super chat. There, I said it. I'm kidding. Georgia sausage. Georgia boy sausage. It'll bless you. I'm mildly concerned.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a brand?
I'm not going to ask follow-up questions. Johnny Reno gets that pass completed to Justin Williams. Big 3rd down and 2 coming up, Gerald. They need to keep this drive going.
I think, from here on out, it's actually 4 down territory no matter what, right? You processing up 5.5 minutes right here. And, it doesn't look like Jason Williams in the game, but look, hand it off. You got 2 plays right here to pick up 2 yards.
DeQueen by herself down at the bottom. Ball is handed off and just absolutely stuffed. Inch away. That was Mark Edwards again, the backup fullback subbing in. For a tired Justin Williams.
Where was Isaiah Knox? Isaac Knox?
Yeah, I don't know, but head coach Axel Raven throwing the challenge flag. Let's take a retroactive look at this play. Brought to you by Retroid. Get the SFL console at goretroid.com.
I might have a case there right at the end rate that we're going to see.
Yeah, forward progress was stopped, but
No, he's short.
I mean, I think an inch away is probably the correct call. Let's see what the ref decides. The call on the field is ruled as correct, Minnesota. And that's costly. And I understand why Raven did it, because you really wanted to keep the drive going. But 4th and an inch, I don't know. I don't want to risk losing my timeout, and I've got Justin Williams.
Why are we punting here?
Yeah, you can't.
Why are we punting? You're 5 minutes in here. Yes, your defense on the last couple of drives has stopped Fort Worth, but you're letting Fort Worth use too much time as they go down the field before you stop them. If this is what you're going to do, you have to make sure you get them in a 3 and out. Otherwise, they're going to go down. They're going to take up about 2 or 3 minutes even to get down the field before you stop them. And then you lost a timeout.
Yeah, it was just the perfect triangle of problems. Just, just being shy of midfield. It's a little far away to go for it. Still enough time on the clock that, you've got time for your defense to get you the ball back, and, losing that challenge. I would have gone for it on both of those 4th downs, but it's easy to sit up here in the booth kicking stuff and saying that you'd go for it. It's a whole nother thing when you're down there on the sideline and you got to make that call. But now it's up to the defense, and starting things off with a 2-yard gain. 2nd down and 8 as we take a look at the team stat comparison. Fort Worth approaching 400 yards total, most of which has been through the air, but the rushing yards getting up there as well. So they hand this one off. Charlie Baker, he adds on a few. 3rd and 3.
Yeah, and you were so upset about that 4th and inches punt that you're kicking stuff up here in the booth.
Yeah, I just kicked the garbage can right against the wall.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well,
we're invested. We're invested in these games.
Absolutely. And it's fun as a broadcaster because you can root for either team at the same time. Yeah, because I just want a good game.
Huge 3rd down for Minnesota here. They got to make this stop. They got him bottled up.
Stuffing him at the line, wrapped up and tackled. Got the stop that they needed. They're going to need to get the ball back, but Gerald, now time is not on their side. Going to be less than 4 minutes to go. They have only 2 timeouts, so they need to score and practically at this point get the onside kick to get this game even tied up. They need 2 touchdowns, and at least one of them needs to be converted with a 2-point conversion just to tie.
And the crazy thing, right, because they were targeting T. DeQueen nearly all the first half. I believe she's had only 1 catch in the second half right here. So if they want to move the ball down the field, because they've had success when they've thrown on the ball. So if they want to be successful in the passing game, they're going to have to get the ball to T, and everybody else, the Moose, whoever's available to catch the ball.
Over-under on this game, 44.5. We're at 41 right now. A field goal doesn't get it done, not only for the over-under, but it also won't get it done for Minnesota. They're going for touchdowns from here on out. I think 4th and anything at this point, they're going to go for it. They're going to start off 4 wide. Johnny Reno back to pass. Throws up top. Jumping one-handed catch. Gets a 7-yard gain. And smartly, they'll go into the hurry up.
Deezer Powell with his first catch of the game.
He's been targeted 3 times now. Finally completes one. Pass over the middle. Nearly gets picked off. Targeted Quig Mam on that one, but the ball almost went straight to Ben Stone. Falls harmlessly to the turf. Tonight's second half, 4 straight drives ending in a punt.
Reno had him open. He just overthrew him. He let him way too much. Fortunate enough for Minnesota that Ben Stone, the former quarterback in the minor leagues, just couldn't come away with it.
Big 3rd down now for Minnesota. Reno throws into triple coverage, and it's a 4th down. What are they going to do here?
You're going to line up and you're going to go for it.
You got it, right?
Look, and
profound analysis.
Look, and that's the thing. They're right there. They tried to force it to T.
Yeah.
And they know that she's been the go-to this game, and Fort Worth knows that. When they need to pick it up, they've been going to T, and she was in triple coverage on that one.
4 wide receivers, crowd on their feet here at the Stockyards. 4th down and 3. Reno throws behind the line to gain. Colin Hart can't get there. Tackled for a loss, and it's a turnover on downs.
J.L. Browning coming in with a Studley open field tackle. And believe it or not, I would take Colin Hart in that matchup every time. But J.L. Browning says not to be, and I'm going to bring him down in the backfield. No chance of picking that up with his ability to make that tackle right there.
APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. Dunhill, he's not just going to try to run it out. He's going to throw
Is that a pick six?
Johnny Bravo to the 30, 20, 10, 5. Minnesota's not done yet. Touchdown, legend.
And you know what that was? You can actually see Johnny Bravo actually close on the ball. Stephen Hacker had him beat. The ball was thrown a little bit behind him, and he made the adjustment, picked it off, and returned it about 65 yards for a touchdown. And now it's a one-score game.
Unbelievable. All they had to do was hand it off to Bacon the rest of the game, and they had this thing in the books.
And I don't and the thing about it is I don't understand why Dunhill wouldn't lead Hacker. He had about a 3-yard.
Oh, when I saw the ball get released, I thought it was a touchdown. I thought, wow, they're going for the throat.
Wow.
But it backfired. And they're going to go for 2 right here.
What a play by Johnny Bravo.
They needed a 2-point conversion at some point. They're going to do it now. Reno throws, end zone incomplete. And it remains a 2-score game.
Like I'm kind of torn whether you go for 2 there, right?
I don't go for 2 until I need to go for 2.
I don't go for 2 until I need it.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. I'm like, let's just keep the hope alive until the last very minute.
Because that hurts. You know, that's
it's like,
that's
yeah,
tough.
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, double M7 has the ball teed up. He's ready to kick the onside kick. Kick is away, easily recovered by the Toros, and now they'll be in great starting field position. So, man, a pick 6 that quickly made it possible for this to be a 1-score game. They go for 2 right away, and instead they miss it. They're forced to kick the onside kick, and now it's still a 9-point game. So who knows? Maybe Dunhill will go to the sky again.
Well, and this is the thing, right? Look, Dunhill has had a great passing day in yards and touchdowns, but that's his 7th interception in 2 games right here. That can be something that's really concerning going forward for Fort Worth.
This time they go down to Bacon, and he'll run for a gain of only 1. Minnesota conserving their last 2 timeouts, at least for now. Tomorrow night, SFL action continues at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time when the Carolina Skyhawks welcome the Atlanta Swarm, and Jacksonville visits Charleston. In the nightcap, 2 teams that stumbled in Week 1, Los Angeles and Arizona, meet, plus a battle of surprising unbeatens, Queen City and Houston. It's the SFL right here on YouTube. Got an exciting weekend straight ahead. 2.5 to go in this one. Fort Worth in control now. As they hand this one off to Bacon. He surges forward for a gain of 4. That'll bring us down to the 2-minute warning, Gerald. And obviously Minnesota's got to get a stop here, but do they have any hope left in this one?
Well, yeah, I see the Hacker man himself hollering, I'm open.
So he wants him to throw again.
I guess he's hollering for the ball there, but
Diva.
it's a thing right, like what Minnesota can do here is actually try and get them for a loss to push him further back and make it a longer field goal for Amelia Rose. She's missed 147-yarder already today, so we'll at this point kind of get in her head. They do have a 2-score lead, so they have a little bit of a cushion. They got to score. Minnesota's going to have to score twice while also stopping them from picking up a first down or even converting a field goal.
2 minutes to go here at Stockyard Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. Dunhill, play action, throws over the middle and incomplete. And did Minnesota a favor there as the clock stops with 1:57. Minnesota able to conserve their 2 remaining timeouts for that whole drive.
Well, I'm not sure who that pass was intended to, but he was open.
He was open, yeah.
And it may have been Stephen Hacker
threw
himself.
1,000,000 miles an hour.
It may have been a tight end.
So the field goal is on its way. This one is tried and true, 31-19. Amelia Rose kicks it in. 4 plays, getting points on the board. 31-19 as the Toros out in front by 12.
Doesn't it feel like just Fort Worth in the second half just kind of put it in cruise control?
Yeah.
No panic. We're just going to go through, try not to make any crazy mistakes, even though they made a pretty big one by allowing that pick 6 to happen. But they just kind of put it in cruise control, and they had no panic despite the 30 interceptions by Dunhill.
Quig Mam kneels the ball down in the end zone, saving all the time possible on the clock. Minute 52 to go. Minnesota leading the yardage total here in the second half, and they're going to need to double that amount of yards if they're going to win this one. They got to get 80 here, and they got to do it quick. Reno to throw. That one tipped and nearly picked off on the bounce, attempting to hit Jay Taylor, second down.
And you can watch how the Minnesota offense is trying to play this, right? I know they need to get down the field really, really fast, but they're having these, 3-step drops, which is typically from a quarterback's perspective. The routes are short, right? At the end of his drop, the quarterback should be ready to throw the ball, and I don't think the receivers are getting further downfield. They're going to have to do something a little bit deeper.
5 wide, and they don't go deep. They go to the tight end. The Moose gets a yard, gets out of bounds. 3rd down and 9, and time's a wasting. Obviously, the clock stopped at the moment, but you don't have time for 1-yard dump downs.
Right. So and that's what I was saying. Like, they're going to have to drop a little bit deeper.
Throw caution in the wind here. Throw the ball.
I mean, you're down 2 scores. You need 2 scores. You need to push the ball down the field. If you're doing like 4 and 5 yard outs, there's no way you're going to get down the field in time to at least make 2 scores.
Reno fires downfield, a one-handed grab to Queen once again, and Minnesota will burn timeout number 2.
And not only that, guess what? I mean, we both feel like they wasted a timeout on an obvious, a
situation you're going to go for.
Yeah, short the line of gain, and then guess what they did? They ended up punting on that anyway. I thought that was 4-down territory in my opinion, but they're going to have to get pushed down the field, 15, 20-yard routes here.
Reno throws it right at the line of scrimmage, and France can't do anything with it. He's just trying to regain his footing, and before he could, tackled for a 1-yard loss. Final timeout now called by Minnesota. They can only stop the clock on incompletions and getting out of bounds the rest of the way.
J.L. Browning playing the pass in the flats right there. It's the second time on a play to the flats that J.L. Browning has actually had a tackle for loss.
DeQueen in motion. Up top. 5-step drop, quick pass for Reno. That one is picked off, and going back the other way, Tavius Gordon with the pick, getting it back to the Minnesota 36-yard line. And Gerald, that's the ball game.
Yeah, and that is the ball game. I've seen somebody in the chat calling for a Delaney Nash legacy pick 6, but guess what? It's one of his teammates, and Mr. Gordon come away with the one-handed pick to pretty much seal the game right here for the Fort Worth Toros, for them to start, what they feel like is going to be the start of another winning streak.
Yeah, Tavius Gordon with a pick last season, and already has a pick here in season number 2, as all Dunhill has to do at this point is a couple of kneel downs, and Fort Worth will advance to 1-1 on the season. Minnesota's going to start their season off 0-1 with a loss. Have you ever wanted to be a play-by-play or an analyst broadcaster? We are looking for passionate SFL participants or viewers like yourself to join the broadcast team for the upcoming minor league season in just a few months' time. Please visit simulationfl.net/broadcasting for more details on how you can get involved and get your voice on the call. Always looking for new broadcasters for the minor league. It's a great opportunity to try it out without necessarily all the pressure of the main league.
That's where nicknames are formed.
We do have fun in those minor league broadcasts. It's good times. Meanwhile, in D.C., in the fourth quarter, D.C. Dragons out in front in that one, 27-10 over Denver. About 4 minutes left in that ball game. Wouldn't blame you if you switched over to that one at this point. But if you'd like to stick with us for a couple more minutes, we'll wrap this one up. And Fort Worth gets their first victory. So, Gerald, I know you like breaking the game down at the end. Let's not even wait for the final stats and highlights. I'll kick it over to you now. Your final thoughts on this one.
Yeah, but Minnesota had a golden opportunity right whenever they were, up 7-10, and then they had gotten that interception off of Dunhill, but then just it was literally heartbreaking. It literally turned the game around when they had some momentum right after that pick. And during the same play of the run back, they fumbled it back. From that point on, it turned everything back into Fort Worth's favor. And it's like it just a little fire under Fort Worth is behind, and they ended up, just kind of running away with it. And like I said, they just put it in cruise control and did it. They finally got their run game, something out of their run game going, having a touchdown by Jay-Z Bacon, run one in, and then Marcus Dunhill just jumping over the line.
The flying Toro.
Yeah. And then, and them just doing what they need to do. And the thing about it is having Hacker and Minson for the second straight week going over 100 yards receiving for both of them. Yeah. It says something that what they plan to do, going forward in the season, is that they're going to win it through the passing game. And if the defense continues to play really, really strong like they are, I think we can see the same Fort Worth Toros that we saw last season win a bunch of games this season.
Dunhill with only 10 interceptions all of last season. Already has 7 this season, though. That'll be the one question mark, the one thing that they might need to clean up as the season continues. Next up for Minnesota, they have their home opener next Friday night at 8:15 p.m. They host the Mexico City Aztecs. For Fort Worth, they hit the road next week. They head to Florida. Monday Night Spectacular on January 29th at 8 p.m. Some exciting games coming up for them. This has been a presentation of the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music. Final score, Fort Worth wins it 31-19. For Gerald Smith, Mark Lopez, Declan O'Rourke, Cameron Irvine, Matt Wilson, who's always with us in spirit, I'm Mike Dykes. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Be kind to one another. Always choose happy and have a great night.